This week's Voice Party is brought to you by ILPvideo.com. We're all stuck inside and content is king right now. So if you want to create some content, have some video shot, advertise your small business, start a podcast, whatever, check out ILPvideo.com. We do it all and we will do it all for you. ILPvideo.com. We make things look pretty.
There he is! There's the man of the hour, the man with the power. How's it going?
Good. You should have just said download Anchor from the get. That would have been easy.
That's one of the things about. I gotta ask you about your comedy writing style, man. Because every time I talk to you, I always tell you like I'm a huge fan of you, and it's awesome when I get to see you live. I don't mean to fangirl all over you, but do you obsess over each topic that you make jokes out of?
I mean, you could say that, I guess. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I obsess, but sometimes I also just don't really give a fuck, and I just kind of say something. You have to. It's good to come both ways, you know. If you obsess too hard over something, people are gonna we don't like that. We don't like when people think.
You get to Bill Hicks-ish.
Yeah. But of course, people want you to prepare your craft. So it's a fine line.
That's interesting because that's what I see. I mean, not that it's. I mean, I can see how some people would get like turned off by it. Like, he's coming on to us too real, And that's what I've always wondered. And I've never asked you just because whenever I've seen you, I don't get the chance to ask you that. Like when you write jokes, because this is what's one of the weird things that I've experienced and like seeing how other comics write. Some comics write in a map style where like they'll draw or write something in the center and they just build around it, kind of like a Chris Rock. Is that your style of creating?
I tried that before. It didn't really work out for me because I get sidetracked. I get off the topic. I still believe in it though, and I still think it works for people. But for me, I use various methods. I have to keep switching it up because if I use the same method over and over, I get bored as shit of it. So I'll do a couple different things. Like sometimes I'll write it out beat by beat. I'll be like, all right, if this, then what? What's funny about this? Or like, I always try to think of like, okay, what does this mean? Like, what's the bigger picture takeaway from this shit? And then if not that, I'll be like, oh, where's the wordplay that I can find? That's usually the first thing that my brain will go to. It's like, oh, where's the pun that I can make out of this? But just a little.
You have a lot of connections to math. We haven't been in the studio, so we're still adjusting to the COVID, man. How have you been adjusting to the COVID?
Oh, man, I've been pivoting, man, every day. Just pivot, dude. COVID's like, we got a new case. I'm like, all right, come at me. How many cases?
Yeah.
How many cases you got, motherfucker?
Yeah.
I'll keep counting. I count the cases every day. Running out of fingers. It's cool, man.
Like I see you've been doing comedy, right? You're still doing your Zoom shows.
Have you come to any?
I came one.
Tracking, man. They're legit.
Where can our listeners check
all
you out? All you
have to do to attend my Zoom shows is go to KOComedy.com. KO, like knockout, comedy.com. You RSVP once and then you're set for life. You can attend our shows for free forever.
Oh, okay. Another thing you got out right now is 100 Humans on Netflix, dude. Congratulations for that, first of all. You want to tell our listeners a little bit about what that's about?
Yeah, if you like fucking science or you like reality shows or you like comedy or you just like any fucking thing. If you like anything, fuck it. Just watch 100 Humans on Netflix.
That's literally what it covers. Everything.
All the questions in life. But I mean, you do have to have a Netflix account or know somebody who has a Netflix account. I was actually using my friend's Netflix account, and then his dad kicked me off, so now I can't even watch my own show. But COVID times, bro. COVID times. You got to pivot. You know what I'm saying? But it's a fantastic show. I highly recommend watching it for fun. Don't take it too seriously because it's not like real science. It's more of like, oh, that's kind of scientific and kind of fun at the same time. But yeah, it's called 100 Humans.
I got a question to ask you because I watched the whole thing twice. Yeah, dude. How much of that of what was said on there was like from you, like your shit?
Uh,
I don't know if you want to disclose that. We don't have to,
well,
but
I mean, there was a little bit of script involved, but like, for the most, we were just kind of like saying very basic stuff. I mean, some of it was scripted, some of it was our own.
yeah, because it seemed like a lot of like, yeah, that sounds about
Yeah.
Sammy. Like especially when I know your comedy, like yeah, that sounds like it sounds like that's something that you like. That's the perfect show for you because you seem like someone that analyzes humans on a daily basis. Because that's what I feel from your style of comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself analytical, and I like scientific experiments and shit. So it definitely was up my alley, and I hope we continue again once it becomes legal.
Another thing, dude, that I want to talk about, because this was one of the most insane things I've ever seen anyone attempt to do. You did the 1,000 or 1,001 days in a row of stand-up comedy, and to this day, are you the only person that holds that record?
Yes, as far as I know. I mean, somebody may have tried to do it and died. I mean,
they got to 999.
Yeah, they made it. They could have made it to like 1,003, and like they were about to like make the big blog, and they died. But
yeah, they made it to 999, and Sammy fucking killed them.
Yeah,
What made you decide to do the 1,000 days? Like what? Like that sounds dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been attracted to danger. I'm kind of a daredevil. You know what I'm saying? No, it was I wanted to get good, man. That's all it was. I wanted to be as good as I could possibly be. Make sense?
And I get it. But was there ever like I mean, I'm sure sleep deprivation was a motherfucker. I mean, that's just one of the things that I could see killing you attempting that. Like, did you ever experience anything like that? I mean, health wise. Because I performed with you maybe 2-3 times. We just had Chris Riggins on the show the other day, and we were talking about bombing. And I remember there was the day you came and you performed at a show in Berkeley. And you just dropped in. You were in town. You weren't on the lineup, and you went right before me. And I was like, "God damn it!" It's just made it a lot harder for me. And it was fun to see you. But I remember that was when you were doing the 1,000 days, and there were some nights where like I could tell you were really sleep deprived, or you seemed sleep deprived. Was that something you encountered, man, or was there some? What was like the craziest thing you encountered in those 1,000 days?
I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start telling you the craziest shit that happened. But I mean, as far as like, if you're kind of asking like where the shit got stressful, I'll tell you, there was a day where I was flying from Dallas to Detroit. So I was flying from Dallas to Detroit, and I had 21 days of straight colleges, and that means like I had to like rent cars in like 20 different cities and drive from place to place. So on that flight from Dallas to Detroit, I lost my ID, my driver's license. So I arrive in Detroit, and I get to the rental car place, and I didn't even know that I lost it. I get to the rental car place, and they're like, "All right, we need to see your license, because of course you have to have a driver's license to rent a car, right?" So I open up my wallet, and it's not there. So I start searching my bag. It's not there. I literally like pour out all the shit from my bag, all the contents of my bag. I have like 100 business cards in there, and they all spill over. So now I'm like searching for my ID in the middle of 100 of my own business cards. So I'm looking for my face within just a bunch of pictures of my, like it looked like it was all my ID. People thought I was a lunatic, and I was freaking out because I had to be an hour away in 1 hour. So I just start flipping out, and like I start begging them and asking them if there's any way around it, and they say they can't do it. So I go down to Avis, like right down the street, and I thought maybe they would like cut me a deal, and they said the same thing. You have to have a license. So I ended up calling the school, and the guy came and picked me up. So I made it to the show an hour late. And the students were like waiting patiently.
Wow.
But like the nightmare part of this was that was I was 1 day into the tour. I had 20 days left to deal with the same bullshit every day. So I ended up having to take the Greyhound and like bum rides from people for 2 or 3 weeks all around the U.S. because I couldn't rent a car. And of course, any sane person's like, well, why don't you just like fuck all that? You just got to go home. But like I had 20 days left to finish my 1,000-day streak, you know? So there was no point in ending it then. So that's pretty rough.
Did it get harder towards the end? Like, is that's an example of that? It was harder towards the end?
Yeah, it got super hard, man. Like just like the pressure of having to finish, you know?
Yeah, we were cheering you on, man. And you know what? I remember thinking, this is. I wonder if after this you're just gonna say fuck it, I don't want to do comedy anymore. Did that cross your mind at all?
Many times, at least once a day, at least.
I remember you said something about there was nights where you couldn't find a microphone. I mean, a show, so you would take over karaoke.
That's true.
Microphones and piss them off. How often did that happen? Did it happen, dude?
I mean, there was a couple times where shows got canceled pretty quickly.
Yeah,
that one time where I had to hijack the karaoke, that was one specific time. A dude punched me in the stomach because he was upset that I.
Oh shit!
Karaoke.
So you didn't get very many laughs at the karaoke?
I got a few, but I got a lot more fuck yous get off the stages.
Dude, is there any plans for a season 2 of 100 Humans? Because that seems like the kind of show you could do so much with.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's illegal right now. So like there's no way of telling. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because COVID has shut all film production down right now. Yeah.
I keep forgetting when I ask these fucking questions.
I mean, maybe you could.
What's your estimation on when this is going to be over, man? Do you know? I know you have a pre-existing podcast where you're on with a doctor. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So we asked a virologist what he thought. He thinks there's going to be a vaccine by March of next year.
March of next year.
I don't want to go till March without the studio.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is
from what my grandfather, who's a microbiologist by trade, had told me, standard is for figuring out most vaccines is anywhere from 2 to 3 years. I mean, we're looking at a rush job. So many companies and labs are really, really working round the clock trying to figure out how to crack this code. Whatever it takes for public health and safety, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess.
I seen a meme somebody posted where they're like, "We got to stop using that phrase, avoid it like the plague," because clearly humans don't do that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nah. What? As far as shows, I know some places have opened up for comedy clubs. Man, have you done anything at one of those? Like, I don't know. I think in SoCal, there's a few places that have opened up for
I
comedy.
haven't done a live show since March 14th.
Yeah. Are you sticking to no live shows for a while?
No, I'm not particularly against it. Like, I'm not a dummy though. I know the second wave is here and it's coming. It's going to be coming harder in the next few weeks. Like, if you're, like the thing that like, yeah, man, I think the second wave's going to be coming harder. So like, I'm not going to be dumb about it. Like, I'm not. If somebody asks me to do a show that seems risky in the next few weeks, I'm definitely not going to do it. But I would say very likely I'm going to do some live stuff by the end of the summer, no doubt. I have a gig booked in New York in end of July, but I think it's very unlikely that it's going to happen. Yeah,
I booked an outdoor gig, an outdoor show at the place where you came to do my show in Richmond. Yeah. And I'm still a little bit uneasy about it because, my thing is I don't want anyone to catch it at my shit, that's my biggest concern with it.
Yes.
What do you think comedy's gonna look like once this is over, man? Like, as far as live shows in general, you think it's gonna be a great time to host shows?
Well, I think we're having a massive structural change, but I don't think ultimately live comedy is going to die or anything. I think it eventually will come back, but like we're entering a new world at the same time. So there's going to be it's going to be done in a different way. There's going to be a different capacity. Like, say we do get a vaccine and this thing goes away forever, then sure, we may resume comedy at the same capacity. But if it doesn't work out like that, or if more diseases like this come out, it's going to be like a constant.
Well, it was going to lead to my next question, man. Do you see, like, is comedy under attack right now? Like, what do you think about like the stuff that's been going on with that certain comedians having the outrage? Like, what are your thoughts on that, man? Like the whole cancel culture thing.
Oh man, well, cancel culture. I would say cancel culture. Cancel culture is more of a threat to comedy than COVID is, for sure.
Yeah,
because you still do Zoom shows, but if even your Zoom shows can get canceled.
Have you had to change your style as the culture changes?
I mean, had to or want to. I want to change my style. I don't want to ever feel dated, I don't want to ever feel like I'm out of touch with what's going on. So it's not like, oh fuck, the world's changing, I gotta change. It's more like I want to change with the world, So you don't have any jokes that were like would have been fine, say, 2010, but maybe too offensive in 2020? I would say about 75% of my material in 2010 would not be good right now.
Mm-hmm. Is there stuff available on YouTube where you're like maybe worried about? Because I mean, have you noticed like a change in where people recognize you more now since you've been on Conan, you've been on America's Got Talent? Do you ever think about that with all these, like with the Kevin Hart situation where he was just going to host the Oscars and then all these things came up from in the past?
Yeah, I mean, my online presence is pretty clean, man. I mean, I've looked through it multiple times. The only danger we put ourselves in is doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in no danger at all. Squints, shifts eyes back and forth really quickly.
Yeah. So, Sammy, what's the risque stuff you have? Tell us about it on this public podcast.
I never asked you this. Who's one of your influences, comedic wise?
I got a lot of influences. I have so many. So, I don't.
Because you're your own style, man. Like, I mean, I guess every comic is, but like I've never. I mean, I can't really think of, like, every comic has their own niche, and you have where you could do a whole hour, which I've seen you on, like, doing stuff about math, and that I can't think of anyone that does something like that. Like, who do you get your influence from as far as performing, just the performing part?
I would say,
because you're one of those that I can't figure out, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure you've heard that before.
Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty clear as day. If you watch my set a few times, you can see it's Dane Cook. You know what I mean? It's Dane Cook, Pablo Francisco.
Okay.
I know those people.
How does it feel to be more relevant than at least one of your influences?
That was a joke, guys.
I like Dane. Shout out to Dane. It's just I haven't seen him.
I know that was a joke. I was like, I was letting you get it out. I was like, is he serious?
I thought it was serious.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, I would say my early influences were like Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle. As far as like a comedic mind goes, I love Larry David.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius, yeah. Another example of, like, not overanalyzing but super analytical. Yeah, no, that is right now that that you are doing your Zoom shows, I don't know if this has crossed your mind of doing like or I don't know if anyone's done a Zoom special. Is that a thing? Are you
It's
in
not a
works
thing right now, but somebody's going to put one out pretty soon, I'm sure. I know. Yeah, I mean, I know I've heard some people like kind of talking about doing it, but I haven't actually seen one yet.
Is that something you? Because I can see you doing that. Like that's why I ask. Would you? Is that something that you got in? Are you planning on anything like that in the future?
It's not a bad idea. I mean, the thing is, if you want to record in HD in Zoom in 1080, you have to upgrade to the I think the business
one,
which is $1,000 a month minimum.
Ah.
So it would basically. I mean, not to say that's like a lot of money for shooting a special, but like,
right.
I mean, there is an investment, and so you would invest, you would get that HD, and you would set it up, nicely, and then do it. I mean, it's possible. I could possibly do it. I'm not against it. I just don't know. I don't know how it would look.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought about that because, well, I also want to plug as many Sammy things as available for our listeners. You have albums available out there. You have 2, I believe, right?
Yes, 2 albums: Organic and Get Funny or Die Trying.
Get Funny or Die Trying. For the listeners, where can they download those?
They're both on iTunes.
They're both on iTunes. The second one, I remember for a while you were just giving it away. I was wondering why you were doing that.
Just because I just wanted to give something back to my fans. I didn't want to sell it to my fans. I wanted my fans to have it as a gift because, at the time and even now I'm not I'm not famous or nothing. I'm just like I have a certain small fan base that stays true to me, and I appreciate them, and I just didn't feel right selling something to them. I wanted them to have it as a gift.
That's rare.
That's a great sentiment, sir.
Well, eventually, after I gave it to all my fans, then I started charging for it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
you do.
Price of a Netflix credit.
Exactly. What's your what's your goal? No, more. The question I really want to ask is, what's been like your proudest moment since from the day you did your first open mic, like to now, as far as stand up? I'm always curious because you just seem like, I don't know, man. Like it's just you every time I've seen you, you're knocking them out of the park.
Oh, thanks, bro.
And yeah,
that's a good question. It's like for me, it's always been like the small victories. I just like doing something new that's fresh, that's never been done before. So like obviously finishing the 1,000 days was like a big thing for me.
Yeah,
just the feeling of like I did it. I set out to do it, and I did it. But I don't know. Every now and then, if I do like a crowd that's like really tough and like the thing is that I do that no other comedian really does is I'll perform at all sorts of odd. Well, sorry, I'm gonna talk past tense. I would perform at all sorts of types of venues,
right?
Because who knows if that's gonna even happen anymore. But I would perform at a library one night. I'd perform at a quinceañera the next night. I'd perform at an Indian wedding the night after. I'd perform at a mosque the night after.
You performed at that show in Richmond. I did.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
And like most comedians kind of gravitate towards one kind of room or one kind of crowd. I mean, of course, the best comedians are very versatile and can do different stages, but like that's kind of like my biggest difference from other comedians is that I do like the weirdest places, the weirdest rooms that you wouldn't think comedy would work. Like Zoom. So
yeah.
So just like those like little things, like if I did like a show at like a library and I ended up doing well, like that would be like a huge thing for me, just because I like those kinds of challenges. But those are the things that I take pride in. The rest is bullshit.
Right. No, that you bring up a good point, because that's something I've always wondered. I've gone to see, and nothing against him at all. And I'm not, I'm not saying anything bad about anyone, but I know that like some comedians who have already made it and they're famous, they bring in whatever, they fill a stadium. Like I've seen Gabriel Iglesias, very funny dude, but I have this feeling when I was watching him perform live, like, is it that he's really funny, or is he's just kind of, they worship him and they just kind of go with it? Are you afraid of that happening with your fan base?
I'm not, because first of all, I've just spent so much time on the other side,
Right. Yeah.
I never had any easy breaks. I never had I never catapulted into fame early or anything like that. So I've spent time in the dark, in the grit. So for me, whatever I get, I'll have earned it,
Right.
But to answer your question, it's a combination of both. Like Fluffy is insanely talented. He's an insanely talented guy, but at the same time, his consumers love him so much that they will giggle at anything he says, as does any comedian's beloved fans. So
right,
and that comes with the
they're
fame,
just anticipating the funny.
Yeah, and they know him, they know his character, they're a fan of his work. So when you have that two combination of super talent and super beloved, that's the response you get. When you don't have that belovedness but you have the talent, it doesn't always look as magnificent as it should. And also vice versa, when you're beloved but you're not talented, there's always people on the sidelines going what the fuck is this bullshit? This is hack,
Yeah.
So it the goal is always to have both. And I put in enough time to where I've got one half of it,
A big chunk of it, man. I got to tell you, because I've seen, like I said, I've seen you work rooms that are just, they seem impossible, and yeah, speaking of, those little dark areas. I mean, I always thought this guy's gonna, I'm not trying to fluff you or whatever, but I always thought this guy's gonna get so big eventually that might not be able to talk to him. So I appreciate you coming on, dude.
Of course.
Where as far as daily, do you have a YouTube channel also, right? Daily stuff that you put out?
I'm on all the socials, but I got YouTube, Insta, all that shit.
Okay, it kind of goes back to this thing. I enjoy watching this because you do this character where you do horoscopes. Are you still doing that?
That's one of my favorites. I haven't done it in a really long time, but every now and then somebody's like, "Hey, man, do Daniel again."
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Because that angle, it's so popular with the girls. So hey, check this out, and it always opens up a conversation. So thank you, dude. I appreciate it.
I know I did.
I'm a Taurus, man. What do you have for Tauruses right now?
Taurians, man, dude. Taurus, dude. I wouldn't fuck with a Taurus, man. I wouldn't fuck with
Most women don't. Trust me.
Taurus, man, loyal friends, man. Taurians as comedians, good comedians. You have Jerry Seinfeld was a Taurus. Very solid writers. Taurians. They have structure. Would you consider yourself someone who has joke structure?
Yeah. I guess no one told me. I see what you're saying. I mean, that's one of the things, dude, that I admire about you, and that's what my writing style is. It really just comes from conversation, and if I sit down and I try to write, I'll have a big writer's block, man, for a long time, and that's been my thing for forever. That's why I like talking to different comics and asking them their style. I guess because I can't find structure, I guess that's why I can't write sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I don't know if that answers the question.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
What were some other types of shows that you had to improvise that people wouldn't expect to see a comedian?
So like every now and then, people will book me for like their weddings, and not tell their families that there's a comedian. Like for instance, hosting. Like for instance, I did a wedding for a Muslim couple in SoCal. So was doing a wedding for this very conservative family, and nobody knew there was going to be a comedian there. And they asked me to, in my contract, they asked me to perform at their wedding, right? And to MC their reception. And then I get there, and they tell me that they have me MCing the ceremony, the wedding ceremony, the religious part, the serious part.
Oh
Wow.
Jeez.
So I go up there, and they give me instructions on like who to introduce the imam, the Muslim priest, basically. And I ain't making no fucking jokes during that part. What are you fucking kidding me? So I go up there and I'm like super serious, and I introduce the wedding. Nobody knows I'm a comedian. Nobody knows why I'm there. So they tell me that there's no time for me to do a set, but just to like be funny. And I'm like, dude, I'm hosting your wedding ceremony. Like, where's the like? And here comes the bride. At least so he thinks. She weren't leaving pretty soon, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
Give it
goodness.
up for Shaza. You know, like what the fuck is? You seriously think that I'm gonna do that? So they
wanted you to be preacher funny.
They wanted their money back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They tried to not pay me, so I threatened to sue them. Basically, I said, "You fucking fuck."
Always have a contract.
Yeah, always got to have a contract and do a deposit, because they would have really tried to fuck me. But situations like that, and well, that's not one where I succeeded, I guess. But like I wasn't like, so you have to know your boundaries, you know what I mean? But like situations where I did succeed, like for instance, people will have me. Last year, some guy had me dress up in a suit and pretend like I was a financial advisor for his marketing team, and was giving like, he had me pretend like I was giving like a financial lecture, and then I ended up like turning it into a comedy set. So stuff like that. People always ask me to do comedy where nobody's expecting it, and yeah.
So you're pretty comfortable with going into a situation because people don't expect you to do jokes, and then all of a sudden,
like a Sacha Baron Cohen type thing.
Like we're taking our son to get circumcised. We want you to dress up as the mole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's next.
All right. Hold on a second.
I tried that one time. I did stand up for a presentation for my speech class. It didn't go well though. That one person laughed, and she laughed really hard, but everybody else was uncomfortable. So, props to you.
Thanks.
Sammy, I got a challenge for you.
What's that?
I think you should, as for shits and giggles, you should run for president. I know you've talked about it before. I think you could do it, man.
Well, I'm gonna do it in 2036.
Oh, are you serious? Okay, all right. What's your campaign gonna depend on?
What do you mean depend on? It's gonna.
I mean, not depend on. Sorry. Like, what's your campaign?
What are you standing
consist
for?
of? Yeah, what are you standing for?
You're gonna legalize marijuana on planes?
Is that it?
That's one thing. I don't know why you guys aren't cheering yet.
You have my vote.
Yeah.
That's good. See, then I don't need to say anything else, right?
Why on planes though? Let me. What's
Have you ever smoked marijuana on a plane?
No.
Exactly.
No. Okay. All right.
Have you ever been high when you flew?
No.
No one here has been high when they flew?
No, I doubt it.
Anyone here been high when they traveled anywhere?
Yeah, but it's not on the plane. Well,
Did it make the traveling go smoother?
yeah, it did.
Well, there you go.
Okay, good point. All right, so that's one. What else you got?
I'm going to abolish leaf blowers.
Abolish.
I'd vote for you if you can just make it so people can't use them before 9 a.m.
Yeah, well, we're gonna abolish them completely. but there will be higher penalties for using them before 9 a.m.
Okay.
I would vote for you just to see those speeches, dude. Like,
those the debates, man. Like, he would destroy whoever was there.
Dude, I don't want to take too much of your time, man. Again, I appreciate you coming on. You got my vote for, what was it, 2036? 2036. Is there anything you want to? We have a lot of listeners here in America and some in Canada. I don't know how. I just, a lot of people in Canada listen to the Voice Party. Any message you want to give the people? Anything you want to tell them where they can come watch, or anything you just want to say to them?
Okay, well, either I'm definitely going to promote my weekend shows. RSV at kocomedy.com for Zoom shows. Check them out. They're live as fuck. They're fun. Check out 100 Humans on Netflix, and follow me on social media at Sammy Obeid, and I'll keep you posted on upcoming stuffs.
Right on, Sammy. Hey, thanks again for coming, bro. I hope when all this is over, we can see you live in person, because that's the best way to see you.
Thank you, my brother. I'm sure it'll happen sooner than later.
I hope I can book you again in the future, brother. All right, man. Thank you. And thank you guys for listening to The Voice Party. We're out.
We out.
Peace.